I'm very slow because I got no confidence in the car.
Copy.
Suzuka, one of the most unforgiving circuits on the planet. A track that doesn't hide secrets, it exposes them. And on this Friday, Ferrari's darkest secret came screaming through the radio for the entire paddock to hear. I'm very slow because I don't have confidence in the car.
I don't know.
Clearly ahead.
It's going to be tough.
7 world championships, 103 race wins, and Lewis Hamilton, the greatest driver of his generation, couldn't trust his own Ferrari. But here's the question that changes everything. Was this just a bad Friday, or was it the first crack in a wall that Ferrari built all winter and never actually finished? It starts with FP1. Hamilton climbs into the SF26 and takes to the track. 6th place, 3/10 off the pace. On paper, acceptable, almost calm. But the engineers watching the data weren't calm because the car wasn't responding, especially at corner entry where Suzuka demands everything. The front end was refusing to turn. The understeer was there from the very first lap, persistent, creeping, unshakable. But that was just the start. FP2 arrives. Ferrari makes setup changes. They try to give Hamilton what he needs: front-end grip, stability, confidence. And it doesn't work, not even close. The gap to the leader doesn't shrink, it explodes, jumping from 3/10 to almost a full second. A circuit that exposes every weakness. It just performed surgery on the SF26. Because what happened next changed everything. Hamilton radios in from the middle of a flying lap. Not a complaint, not frustration, a confession. He reports a violent, sudden snap, a loss of rear stability in one of the most demanding corners on the circuit. After that snap, everything changes. He can't attack, he can't push. Every corner becomes a negotiation with a car he no longer trusts. The telemetry told the story in numbers. 2/10 lost at turn 6, 2/10 on the straight, another 2/10 at turn 13. Not random losses, a surgical pattern, a specific repeating problem. And this is where the story gets dark.
Because Charles Leclerc, same car, same garage, same circuit, was ahead, consistently, session after session, not dramatically faster, but constantly, undeniably in front of his teammate.
The Mercedes are still ahead.
To win races, which at the moment seems very difficult because Mercedes is at a very high level, but
And we've not yet made a step to do that.
Which means the excuse Ferrari desperately needed, it's the car, was suddenly taken off the table.
Now, here's where it gets complicated. Because while Hamilton was drowning in doubt on the track, Ferrari's paddock was delivering an entirely different message to the world. Hamilton himself had said it before the weekend began. This team isn't here to get closer, it's here to win. Leclerc backed it up, defending the team's process, defending their adaptation, talking about how Formula One is competed today. Energy management, consistency, complexity. A powerful speech, a unified speech. But here's the problem. When a driver who feels in control of his situation speaks publicly, he doesn't need to keep repeating that everything is fine. That kind of speech appears when there are internal doubts, when the team needs to convince itself as much as the outside world. The ambition wasn't false, but the ambition and the data were living in completely different realities. McLaren and Mercedes were over 7/10 clear, and Ferrari's drivers were giving press conferences about winning. That contradiction between what they said and what the stopwatch said was the real story of the Japanese Grand Prix weekend. And now we go deeper, because there's a third layer to this story, one that Ferrari's own engineers didn't see coming. Hidden inside the chaos of Hamilton's difficult sessions, there were moments, flashes, corners where the car responded differently, sectors that had previously been a weakness suddenly showing competitiveness. Not from a new update, not from a technical improvement, from something far more uncomfortable for a Formula One team to accept. From Hamilton himself. The way he entered corners, the minimum speed he maintained, the transition between braking and acceleration. It didn't match their simulations, it didn't match their model of the SF26, and that forced Ferrari into a question they hadn't expected to ask. Had they been misreading their own car since the very beginning of the season? Because what the data was beginning to suggest was this: the performance was always there, hidden behind an extremely narrow operating window. A window that depended on tire temperature, aerodynamic balance, and very specific cornering phases all aligning at once. When they did, the car was competitive. When even one factor was off, the performance vanished completely.
This explained everything. The inconsistency in Australia, the confusion in China, the unpredictable behavior that had been following this team like a shadow since race 1. The SF-26 wasn't broken. It was misunderstood. And Hamilton, without asking for credit, without making noise, was beginning to find the key. But here's the brutal truth about finding a key in the middle of a season. It means accepting that you've been standing outside the door for months. With no major updates until Miami, Ferrari can't paper over this discovery with new parts. Everything depends on understanding, replicating, and stabilizing what Hamilton is showing them. And in Formula One, that is far harder than bolting on a new front wing. For Hamilton personally, the consequences run deeper. He's not just fighting a difficult circuit, he's fighting a psychological battle that started the moment that rear snapped in FP2. Because once you drive scared on a circuit like Suzuka, once you start managing margins instead of attacking, every lap becomes slower. Every sector compounds the loss. And rebuilding that trust doesn't happen overnight, even when the team finds answers. For Leclerc, the comparison is now a constant pressure. Being faster than your teammate is a headline. Being faster while your teammate is a 7-time world champion, that's a different conversation entirely. And for Ferrari as a team, they are no longer simply behind their rivals. They are fighting their own car. Scenario 1. Ferrari deciphers what Hamilton discovered. They integrate it, they stabilize it, and suddenly the SF-26 that looked limited becomes the fastest car no one saw coming. Scenario 2. They can't replicate it consistently. Hamilton's adaptation stalls. Leclerc pulls ahead internally, and the team fractures, not loudly but quietly, in a way that poisons the rest of the season. Scenario 3. McLaren and Mercedes watch all of this unfold and simply extend their lead while Ferrari argues with its own data. In Formula One, every week without clarity is a week your rivals bank.
So here's what Suzuka leaves us with. Has Hamilton found the key, or is the door still locked? Can Ferrari turn one driver's breakthrough into a team-wide understanding before it's too late? And the question that might matter most of all, if the car's true potential was always there, hidden all along, how many points has Ferrari already lost chasing a problem that never existed? One thing is certain, the next race won't just be about lap times, it will be about whether Ferrari has finally learned to read their own car.